Welcome to another live stream today. I think this is the second one or the third one. I've been doing a lot of videos lately. Let me turn the light on for you guys. Today we have Clayton from Mosendo, and he's going to talk to us about crypto and some of his ideas. So let's see if we can switch over to this. Jump in the meeting. Let's see if this works. All right. Clayton, what's up? Can you hear me okay?
Hey Dave, yeah, you're coming through.
Awesome, your audio is nice and good with those headphones on.
That's good to hear. I'm in a cafe right now, so if you have some outside chatter, that's what's going on.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, the what are those $12 Apple headphones, whatever, those work almost as good as a microphone sometimes. I've been using them with Anchor.fm, and it works pretty well to be able to record podcasts. So.
Yeah, and they're not even brand name, so.
Oh yeah, yeah, the audio is coming out great. So where are you today? What part of the world are you in today?
I am in Saigon right now.
Nice. And do you live there, or are you typically in Thailand? How does your travel schedule kind of work?
So I bounce around quite a lot, depending on how I'm feeling, right? Like Saigon and Chiang Mai are my main spots.
Nice.
When I need to get out of the concrete jungle, I go to the forest jungle in Chiang Mai.
Nice.
So that, like, I'm working from everywhere. It just kind of comes down to where I need to be.
That's cool. I've never been to Saigon before, but I had a couple days in Chiang Mai and really enjoyed it. Just the size of the city and kind of the vibe and getting a chance to meet other entrepreneurs. It really was a good experience.
Yeah, there's a really great community there of like digital nomads and a crypto hub there. But there's also just like, you can go off to a random little corner and just be surrounded by Thai people and jungle and just do your own thing.
That's cool.
But there's just super nice cafes everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just kind of amazing. There's always that third place you can go to. So.
And what is Saigon like in comparison?
Well, Saigon's just like a major metropolitan area. So
Okay.
like you have there's a lot more meetups and a lot like a bigger, just a proper big city,
I see.
right? So you have like sky bars and all kinds of cool, funky things going on. But there's just not the nature side. So like when I need to get out of the noise and the honking, that's when I jump to Chiang Mai.
So Saigon is somewhat similar to Bangkok then in that regard.
Yeah, I would say so. Did you go through Bangkok when you visited?
Yeah, a couple times. So.
Nice.
Well, that's great. That's cool that you're doing the digital nomad thing, and props on the time differences. It is 9 o'clock here in Colorado. What time is it there in Vietnam?
That's right. Yeah, it's 10 in the morning here.
10 a.m. All right, cool. That's kind of fascinating the way that works. So give us kind of a pitch. What are you up to? I have your Twitter account here. It says that you're working on Mosendo. Tell us what that's all about, and maybe if you wanted, you can also tell us kind of how you got into crypto and what interests you about it.
Sure, right on. Yeah. So I think I'll reverse order those questions because I think narrative-wise that goes in that order.
Yeah, it's probably smart.
Yeah. So. I used to not tell people this story when I first got into crypto, but like a friend was going to buy some Bitcoin right as it was crossing 10K the first time. And I had always kind of like not known what it was or like never learned about it. So I came pretty late. And the only reason I bought some Bitcoin was because like I didn't want my friend to get rich without me also getting in on it, right? It was just like that Me Too thing. Mm-hmm. And then I learned how it worked. And like I remember it was like this event, this epiphany when I sat and read this 45-page ebook about how Bitcoin worked, and I was like, this is actually going to change the world. Mm-hmm. Or has the potential to. So here's what's interesting: is I worked on a bunch of ICO utility tokens over the following year as a token designer. I have a background in economics, so that's the direction I went. But I was always kind of on the fence about a crypto adoption. I never really thought it had any proper potential. Basically, the volatility was always my hang up about it. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I was working in the space, but never really thought that I just wasn't convinced that I wasn't like bullish on the whole picture. But then, and I had known the co-founder of Mosendo for a while before he started Mosendo, and I met him at a dinner at a conference, and he said, "Hey, have you looked into DAI at all?" And I was like, I know I've heard of it, but I didn't really know what it was. Mm-hmm. And then he started to explain it to me. And then I went home and did the same thing. Like that was my second epiphany in crypto, was learning about DAI. Mm. And that's what brought me to that project, was just like, I think that DAI is the single most important thing happening in crypto right now. Mm-hmm. and that's what brings me to Mosendo. Yeah.
Nice. And
So
you're rocking your maker shirt. You're speaking of Roscoe, correct? That's the founder of Get Mosendo.
So there's two co-founders. Roscoe
Okay.
is the CEO,
Okay.
and Tom is the CSO.
Okay.
And Tom and I had known each other for about a year, and then I met Roscoe independently, and then turns out they were working together. And
cool.
yeah, so should I go ahead and explain? I didn't want to just
No, that
do a
sounds good.
long narrative, but should I
Yeah,
explain
what's
what Mosendo is?
let me open up. So I have you kind of on the screen here, and then I have kind of a browser here. So I have the Mosendo site looks great, like the mobile experience, and everything is just clearly in USD, which looks kind of cool. Which I think is interesting how you're kind of approaching it that way. Just a simple ease of use, beautiful site. You guys did a great job, just making it so easy to just scroll through this site. So great work on that.
Thanks. So it's kind of funny. I find it a little bit difficult to communicate quickly why Mosendo is special, because it just sounds like a wallet, but it's actually the only one, and I just tweeted about this a minute ago, but like it's the only one that my mom could use that's also has the benefits of crypto. And so in the first category, it's like the value is stable because it's based on DAI. The recovery methods are intuitive, so we use like a social recovery method so that you don't have to worry about managing private keys.
Oh, nice.
The public addresses are abstracted under Mo tags, so that's just a money symbol and then Dave Craig or something. You'll have to claim your Mo tag. And then the crypto side is in dollars, and it's DAI, and it's non-custodial. So that means you can send it cross borders. You can protect, people with inflationary currencies can protect their value by storing DAI here. Yeah, to me, it's all the promises of crypto with all of the ease of Venmo or any other local payments app that people are already adopting quickly.
That's cool. Yeah, I really like the customer focused kind of user experience, and then a lot of the technical work on the back end. That's kind of a cool combination of things for sure. So yeah, the cash tag idea is really kind of cool. I was considering purchasing an ETH URL, but nobody really uses that as far as I've seen, and yeah, it's interesting trying to use addresses still, copy in this 12-digit address. There's certain clunkiness to that still.
Sure.
We have a number of admins that we work with at the studio, and I would love to be able to tip them every month and kind of give them additional money every month if it comes in. And so I was wondering if there's a way to send money to one address and then that splits it to say 6 other people. So there's just a number of different ideas that we've kind of been thinking about when it comes to getting money into people's hands in a very easy and efficient way to do it. So that's really cool.
There's also the subscription side of things too, which is I think pretty important. We're not, you know what I'm saying? Like either streaming payments or just subscription payments.
Yeah.
That's an important business model, subscriptions. And those kinds of things will probably roll out more in like the version 2. We're really just trying to get like a really usable peer-to-peer payments solution out there. Because there's actually a lot of pretty high pain points out in the world where a solution like this could really help people.
So when do you guys think you'll begin your alpha or your beta? How does that work over the next 6 to 12 months?
I believe there's a beta in a few weeks in Berlin.
Oh, nice. Cool.
It might be like a closed beta, like you have to run into Tom and have him hook you up kind of thing. But it's coming up pretty soon. Like we're really eager to get things live and moving. Yeah.
And then yeah, great work on that. Tell me about kind of the community building. I can pull up here on my Telegram. You're part of the am I saying that correctly? The DeFi.
You are saying it correctly.
So there's the DeFi group, and then there's also the Facebook group, correct?
Right.
All right. So I have the DeFi. There's 166 members in the DeFi group. I'm looking at that right now. And then there's also, what is the name of the new Facebook group that you also launched?
That's DeFi Nation.
DeFi Nation. Okay, I'm gonna pull that up as well.
Yeah. Cool.
DeFi Nation. See if my search will work.
So DeFi is our parent company. That it stands for Decentralized Personal Finance. But we're moving everything over to the Mosendo name just to keep things more simple. So what you're seeing is just an artifact of that.
Okay. And then the Facebook group has almost 400 members now, 393. And a lot of great
Yeah,
videos. I see Chris's awesome video. He's been doing some amazing work.
yeah, I
I
like
feel
his
as though you
stuff.
guys are really making it easy for people specifically on Facebook to be able to jump in and begin to work with DeFi and kind of get their feet wet.
Yeah,
We have this kind of community on Twitter, and it's pretty highly technical and everything. But the work you guys have
right.
done on DeFi Nation, and then also in the DeFi Telegram group as well, I commend you guys on your great work. I think it's really cool, and I've really enjoyed the videos that you put up, and I just think it's kind of a cool approach to try to leverage something like Facebook to get in front of people. So congratulations on all that work.
Absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for always supporting us and tweeting our links out and everything.
Oh
I
yeah, of
appreciate
course.
that.
It's the least I can
Um,
do. Yeah.
and personally, I've loved building that community on Facebook. Even though like plenty of crypto people are not Facebook fans, it's actually just like this is kind of the point. We want stuff that's like Facebook is imminently usable, kind of much more than Telegram,
Mhm.
and like that's kind of the point. We don't want to have to sacrifice and have if you want to be in on a Telegram community, you have to be in there and you have to be paying attention.
Yeah.
And then like you miss important stuff because of the way it's just a stream. But on Facebook, like they have good algorithms, and the problem is like, yeah, they're stealing all your data, but like the usability of Facebook is amazing, and
Yeah.
so like I've been able to just have much richer interactions with people in that community and reach out to people who are not like DeFi, wake up thinking about DeFi like I do.
Sure. Well, yeah, I think that it's like a circle. You have kind of like the people that are going to show up at the ETH events and the ETH heads, as some people call them, and then you try to get to some more developers, and some developers decide to kind of jump in and participate, and then the circle outside of that is maybe some product designers, or maybe some people that work in tech that haven't really tried it yet, or people that are willing to kind of to give it a chance. So I think you guys are doing a great job of being able to get outside of those concentric circles and begin to reach a bigger and bigger audience. And then even just the product design that you've done on Mosendo to be able to make it so that it's in U.S. dollars, and it's just you send it to a name, and then like even being able to do recovery of an account, like that's really kind of creative that you decided to kind of buck the traditional crypto approach of like, oh well, if you forget your password, you're done. If you forget your keys, that you're done. The ability to actually restore an account. There's probably some good data on there on how many people forget passwords.
So
So
sure. And I want to clarify that it is a properly non-custodial smart wallet, so we're not just holding your keys and putting it behind a password login.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using a social recovery method, which I'm not equipped to sort of explain in detail. But essentially, the whole point of this is basically just making recovery more intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But you still own your wallet, and you still own the ability to recover your wallet. And it's very necessary that we don't have the ability to do that on our end.
That's cool. Yeah. Creative work for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, did we miss anything? Let's see. We talked about the Telegram group, the Facebook group. We got a chance to see the Mosendo. The kind of the alpha or the beta is kind of coming out in Berlin soon. What other things do you want to talk about, or are there any things that I've missed from my questioning?
I mean, yeah, I suppose the only thing I wanted to share is that like we're really trying to get out in the world and understand the pain points that people are having, whether it comes to like sending money across borders, for example, or like freelancers in Argentina trying to accept payments from foreign clients. And we're also designing the wallet so that we can display in any fiat currency, and down the line we'll be able to not only display in local currency but also peg in that currency using synthetic fiat assets.
Nice.
That would be up to the user. Basically, if they obviously in Argentina they'd probably prefer USD because of the inflation rate, but they could still display the balance in Argentine peso. And so we're really, as opposed to the kind of more theoretical projects that are saying, like, we're really trying to get out and understand the nitty gritty in the world and then roll it out to these people so that they can use it. I think it's the final little pitch I can do there.
Yeah, I think that just the international part. I've got a chance to live in Bolivia. I used to live in India. Worked in Haiti. Was very blessed to live and work in a number of different places around the world. And so the fact that you guys do have that international focus is definitely commendable. And I'm just excited to see how it rolls out. I'd like to talk to you again in 3 to 6 months and kind of hear an update.
For sure. Yeah.
So a question
Absolutely.
for you, and you could pass on this if you want to, but question that I typically ask a lot of people on Twitter is if a buddy from high school sent you a message, he's like, hey, listen, I've got $1,000. I've heard about Bitcoin. I've heard about Ethereum. I hear you're working on Mosendo. What ideas would you give me? This isn't advice. This is basically just ideas around crypto. What would you say to what he possibly could do with that $1,000?
I like that. Right. So I'd probably ask him some questions about his risk profile.
Mm-hmm.
My first, I'm pretty risk averse, and I'm especially risk averse when it comes to recommendations to others.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say buy DAI and put it into one of these DeFi platforms and earn interest. That's what I would say. And I would say that for a couple of reasons. One is because that would get him intro into crypto. He'd suddenly have some crypto and be able to start learning about Ethereum and learning about Bitcoin, and then he's poised to buy it. Like he's got the DAI. But in the meantime, he's earning rates he couldn't earn anywhere else. So like, if a friend came to me and he wasn't crypto savvy already, that's the answer I would give.
That's kind of cool. So $1,000 directly into DAI, in something like InstaDApp or Compound directly or whatever, Dharma. Yep. I'm here on Compound, and the current rate to lend DAI today is 14.84%. Which is pretty awesome.
Under 15%.
Yeah, under 15%. Shucks. Yeah, I mean, especially if I talk to a lot of hedge fund guys in New York and stuff, and I keep them updated on some of these rates. I was like, yeah, it's 14.8. That's a pretty good rate. Granted, that does come with the smart contract risk or whatever. You could also pay an extra 1% to be able to get the insurance on that if you wanted to. But yeah, that's some pretty good money. And granted, there is some user experience challenges. People are not used to using InstaDApp. People might not be used to using MetaMask. I tell people a lot that one of the nice things about working with Dex Wallet is that you can just open up Dex Wallet and you can get that 14.8% right from your phone. So that's kind of a cool thing. I can log in here. I can see if I got any interest since I last logged in. They actually have like a little Compound section, which is quite nice. It's not logging me in. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. The integration from a mobile experience to be able to get that APR directly from a mobile phone is pretty awesome. So yeah, I think that's kind of a cool idea that you would have your friend begin to work with crypto by first starting with DAI and being able to get these high APRs. And then they wouldn't have to have the same sort of volatility. You wouldn't get a call in 3 months if Bitcoin or Ethereum got a 30% haircut. You wouldn't get a call about that perhaps because their money would be in DAI at least for the first foreseeable amount of time. So it's kind of an interesting approach. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's kind
of
cool.
I don't like recommending someone buy an asset without understanding it, because when that 30% haircut happens and then they sell, and they just take the loss, right? Like they need to understand the big picture in order to hold on for the ride.
Yeah, everyone has that different risk risk profiles, right?
Sure.
Yep. All right. Well, this has been great. Let
me ask you real quick.
Yeah,
Dave.
Sure.
X Wallet is what you just showed me, right?
Yeah, I was trying to load it up, but it's not working on my phone right now. I'm not sure why. I'm trying to get in with my Touch ID.
So when Android?
That's a good question. We'd have to ask Alessio what he thinks about that. He wants to get 1,000 retweets on his tweet.
I remember.
For that, and I think that he's at 200 right now. So it's a big mountain to climb. Yeah, I think that there's if for people, I'm going to pull it up here. For people that are interested in Dex Wallet and the Compound integration, Dex Wallet has a great Discord that I'm pulling up here on the screen, and there's a dev section where you can kind of hound them a little bit and be like, hey, what about this? Because I do think that really will open up a lot of additional customers, a lot of additional users for Dex Wallet. Sure. And yeah, I just think that the Compound integration from a mobile experience is really nice because it's so simple and just like, it's just like this little box. It's right there. So yeah, I quite like that. But yeah, we can ask them in the Discord.
Yep.
Well, yeah, so I've got your Twitter here, Token Architect, @TokenArchitect is your Twitter account. Yeah, congratulations on all the great community building, and I'm excited to see what Mosendo does and hear the updates, especially when it comes to some of the international stuff. If you guys end up translating it into Spanish, yo puedo hablar un poquito en español, that would be fun to be able to kind of participate with that community. I was in the Bitcoin Venezuela group on Telegram yesterday talking to some of those guys specifically about getting some of these high APRs. It was actually kind of funny. Nice. They were giving me a hard time. They're like, no, this isn't possible. I was like, no, it really is.
Right.
I was trying to...
That's the barrier I'm facing, yeah. Sounds scammy.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, to get a 14.8% or 14.9% APR, like that seems like such a tremendous amount of money to a lot of people that, and granted that's a variable rate, but that does seem almost too good to be true to a lot of people. And so for myself, I was running into that as well. I was trying to write correctly in Spanish and explain some of the aspects of the interest rate fluctuations. And a lot of people were very, oh, that doesn't work. Oh, well, how is that possible? So even in a Bitcoin group, introducing DAI and the ability to work with Compound was somewhat of a new thing to the members of that group. So now is early. I say that on Twitter a lot. Now is early, and there's a lot to still be built for sure. But yeah, let's see. Token Architect, Get Mosendo is the Twitter account for you guys' company, and is everybody welcome to join the DeFi Nation? Is that kind of an open group to everybody?
Yeah, it's built out as a closed group, but yeah, absolutely. Okay. Especially if they want to mention where they heard of it. But for the most part, as long as you're interested in DeFi, you belong in there. Perfect. And it's really, it's not a shill group. It's really meant to be for people who want to use these products and educate. Mm-hmm. So like even that fella Chris who's been uploading videos, like he does some great content, and I really love that he wants to share that. And it's actually been really cool seeing how. In the beginning, I was generating these videos and kind of like priming the pump, and now like I can barely keep up with all the activity in there. So it's pretty cool. And I think it's been like a month. It's like there was clearly a need for it. So
that's awesome.
It's cool.
Keep me posted, just between you and me. Keep me posted if you ever have any micro incentive models. We have the studio community. There's like 2,000 members. We have 30 people that are participating as admins and as kind of people that are helping us out and giving us advice and stuff. One of the things that I'm interested in the future is the idea for micro incentives inside of a community. And I was actually talking, I think his name is Kerman, and he was talking about this thing called Panda, where you can get a certain number of Panda points for participating. I think that for the people like Chris, who's putting up all these great videos, like you could just directly pay him or whatever, but there may be a way to do micro incentives in the future where someone who's a super user, a super promoter, a super content producer is able to get a certain amount of views turned into real money, and he gets tipped every month. And for myself, like seeing somebody like Chris put out all these great videos, I was like commenting on his YouTube today. I was like, this is great. And I sent him a message on Telegram. I'm like, this is awesome. Like if I could give him a 25% tip or something, or, there's probably some models in the future to be able to incentivize great behavior inside communities. Sure. So as you grow the DeFi Nation, as we continue to grow the studio, just keep me posted if anything comes across your desk, just because it's such an interesting space to try to scale these communities up.
I'm curious about that. Because, are you familiar with intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators? Mm-hmm. So, like, if you start paying someone a small amount of money for something they were doing for the pride of it, like, sometimes it can actually remove the incentive to do it. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how that works. And it's funny, I award people Clay coins, those are my cryptocurrency. Nice. Which the ledger is a Google Sheets where I record the awards. And it's really just a joke. But, like, it's kind of like having an intangible thing can actually be a little bit more valuable sometimes. I'm just curious how that dynamic works. Yeah. Like I think there's definitely an incentive. There's a place for both. And personally, I don't do things for small amounts of money. I never do bounties. But I will do things for goodwill and relationships. Yeah, right. It's interesting. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting balance. I will be curious to see how like those different elements play out. Sure. Just like yourself, like you do a lot of work to build communities and connect people, and to promote people that you think are doing good work. But it's not like you're asking for money. You never sent me your Ethereum address or something.
Nope, and I never will, probably. Yep, it doesn't work that way. Well, I mean, this is such a crazy space and such an interesting time. We're literally watching the invention of money. I mean, I wake up in the morning just like super happy to be alive and working in this space. I mean, literally, this is like, the invention of internet money. This is money 2.0, and we are watching every day as these new things come out. Getting a chance to talk about Mosendo. It's a new app that a lot of people might use around the world. Like, really kind of cool to get a chance to be on the cutting edge of something that will be very common in 20 years or 30 years. Internet money will be probably a big portion of how everyone moves their, money around. And, a 16, 17-year-old kid who can't get a bank account because he's not 18 yet, he's just going to have a wallet, and he's just going to send Ethereum to his friends and have DAI and have it interest rates getting maybe 10 or 15%. And like when he goes to the bank and it takes him 3 or 4 days to actually get the account set up, and then he's getting like a 0.01% interest. He's like, what? This is nothing compared to like what I'm used to on my phone. It's going to be such a different like it's like he slammed on the brakes. It's going to be such a different experience. He's like, why should I even use the bank? There's no value proposition compared to what I'm already experiencing with all these apps and all this great interaction that I have online. I think that in the next 10 years, it's just going to be fascinating to watch as DeFi competes with traditional finance. And we might have an Instagram moment where there's this just tremendous amount of value created in these different apps, and traditional finance just has to catch up.
Sure.
It's definitely an interesting world.
Or just go the way of Blockbuster.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to watch. Like before we die, it'll be fascinating to watch traditional finance versus DeFi over the next 40, 50, 60 years, whatever. So really interesting.
Sure. You're optimistic to think it'll take that long. You're optimistic for the banks. I mean.
Well, there's 8 billion people on Earth or whatever. It's going to take a while, I think. But I do think that especially when it comes to like 16 and 17-year-old kids, like they're just going to, I don't see any reason to try to get a traditional bank account if your wallet is, getting 10 to 15%, and you can send money to your friends, like you can, send them a snap, or you can send them a message on Facebook Messenger. It's like, it's going to be so fast. The traditional finance world, I think, is going to have to catch up to that. In the next 5, 10, 15 years. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch, and we're going to be able to watch it. Well, this is great. Yeah, props on all your work with the community building. Props on all the work with Mosendo. I think it's cool you're doing the kind of digital nomad thing. I hope to meet you at a crypto event in the not too distant future. Thank you very much for being part of the studio and for always just adding a ton of value in everything that you do. And I hope to get a chance to meet you in person in the not too distant future.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks a lot for taking the time
to
chat.
I'm going to turn this live stream off now. Let's see if I can hit the button.